entertainmentbuddha.com.
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Wah, wah, wah. Dun, 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 dun. Wah, wah, wah. Dun, 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 dun. Wah, 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 wah. Hey now everyone, welcome back to Thankfully Jesus. It's been for fucking ever. But Nick and I are back with a brand new episode of Star Wars Time. Thank you for tuning in. Sorry it's taken so long, but honestly, there hasn't been that much to talk about anyway, so get off our fucking backs, okay?
Yeah, we're back to the regularly scheduled program. Matt, you had a nice little vacation last week. Got to see OSU PSU game.
Rolled out the Happy Valley and suffered through that. Listen to this, people. I mean, I don't even know who the fuck listens to this, if anybody. I know there is at least a couple hundred people because we can track downloads, sorta. So,
yeah.
Honestly, I love you guys. I don't know where the fuck you're from. I mean, you could be from China or whatever, but if you live in America, especially Big Ten country, I rolled out to State College last week to go watch Ohio State play Penn State, and I'll tell you what, that is a sport moment in life. But I also regret it because I had, as an Ohio State fan in Penn State, very rough during a whiteout. And I had probably, I don't know, 10, 12 rows up in the end zone, fantastic seats, but in enemy territory. So we're there. I'm there with another Buckeye fan, dude, and we're just getting razzed left and right. I mean, it's nonstop.
Yeah.
Deservedly, because Ohio State was playing like hot garbage.
I mean, you pulled out the 1-point win.
I know, but here's what I have to say, and I do kind of regret this decision in life. But at halftime, my buddy and I were like, let's just go. This was also before Ohio State recovered the fumble and scored to make it 13-7. So we were already gone by then. That's like how checked out we were.
Yeah.
Because we literally just had these people behind us going like, blah.
Yeah, dude.
And Ohio State was playing like garbage, so that's like it was a disaster for me.
Yeah, you can only put up with so much of that. Like, it's cool to, like, you know, if you go in there and OSU just starts kicking their ass right off the ball.
Or competing. I was just looking for a competitive game, and Penn State was literally jamming their penises into our eyes.
Yeah, it was not great at first.
It was brutal. But anyways, we're not here to talk about that. It was a great sports life experience that I was talking about. I do regret not being able to be in the stadium when Ohio State came back and won for somehow. Just honestly, it was a miracle. There's no reason they should have won that game. I would have loved me at stadium going like, look at me now, just like all the shit I took. But hey, I pussed out. I walked out and went back to RV Alley and watched it on an HGTV. But I feel like me leaving changed the juju. So I take credit for the victory anyways.
Nice.
That's how I operate. So anyways, bro, we're here to talk about Star Wars, not some football stuff, even though Star Wars and football to me, it's like 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2.
Yeah.
But we got a lot of stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
Obviously, we took some time off, but there have been some major revelations made for Star Wars Resistance, which, by the way, by the time you're listening to this, it's already debuted, and hopefully you've seen it. But we're still going to talk about some stuff that was released late that we want to discuss because it kind of finally shed some clarity on the show and what we're going to see. But we also got a boatload, a shit ton, Death Star size amount of information regarding Jon Favreau's TV series, right, buddy?
Yeah, man.
This week, it's almost as if, and I'm going to give him credit, homeboy Jason Ward over at Making Star Wars, I feel like their coverage of the set of Favreau's series forced Lucasfilm in Disney's hand and just saying, yeah, here it is. This is what it's called. Yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he came out on Twitter and was like...
Dude, he found that set and just bombed it.
Yeah, like, he got everything. I mean, like, he got rumors about the directors. He got rumors about basically everything about this show.
Dude, he was
right.
there. I mean, one of his shots is literally a selfie of him at the set site, obviously far away, but, I mean, somehow through his sources he found it. So, all respect to this guy. I mean, I know sometimes we've kind of bitched about making Star Wars, but I 100% believe he was the catalyst for this late week release of this Jon Favreau stuff that we're going to talk about. So, anyways, that's our tease. We'll get there. That's what we do in the podcasting business. We tease.
Yeah, we give you a little bit and then we make you wait until
right, because we got tons of information about Favreau stuff. Tons, more than I expected. So, all right, dude, let's kind of start with the smaller stuff though, and let's go with the Resistance. So, what is now on September 27th? So a while back, like I said, Nick and I have been fucking around. We're lazy. And honestly, there hasn't been that much to talk about, so I don't feel that bad. But anyways, on the 27th of September, we got an extended sneak peek at Star Wars Resistance, which is a new anime coming out on Sunday, October 7th. So like we said, hopefully you've already seen it. But this extended sneak peek, Nick, I think finally revealed exactly what's going on here. Because I know you and I have questioned, okay, like, has he been on this team, and then they contact him and yada, yada, yada. But this finally just nails it down. Like, literally, Poe Dameron and BB-8 and Kaz, they were essentially in the Resistance, and Poe's like, dude, you're going to this platform, integrate yourself, just listen.
Yeah, exactly. He's sent there to figure out who the good guys are, who the bad guys are. And, we didn't know whether anybody on the station was going to know that. Outside of...
Well, the old guy clearly knows.
The older character.
I forget his name.
Yeah, but he knows, the older black character, the guy who basically is like the team lead for Team Fireball. Like, he's the one who, runs the show. He's not the pilot, but he is kind of like the glue that holds the team together. So he tells them, like, hey, look, you can come here. You can do your spy stuff. I'm not going to be involved, but, you're a mechanic on my crew as far as I'm concerned. And this guy is a guy who used to be in the rebellion at the time of, the Empire, the Empire's reign within the galaxy. So
right, but I think they established, like, this dude and Poe have a working relationship. So it's almost, I believe Poe's going to deliver Kaz through this guy. Like, listen, homie, he's coming on board. Deal with it.
Yeah. Exactly. So it's really cool to see kind of the circumstances play out, but then also, like you outlined in the post on EB, we get some good looks at, some other stuff. We see Captain Phasma in there ordering, I want this whole station blown up, and
we got that Golden Trooper too.
Trooper, yeah. That's what I was wondering, if that is going to be another prominent trooper, because obviously Phasma's platinum or silver, whatever you want to call it. And it would be cool to see if there was, like, prior to the movies, a gold trooper that either gets killed or, something happens to him.
Right.
Badass.
You know what else I thought was interesting in this preview is they revealed Leia's in it.
Yes, they did reveal Leia. She's going to play some sort of part probably similar to Poe's part, so it's not going to be a recurring role, but more...
Right. I mean, it's going to be cameo for anime, if you will.
Yeah, exactly. So she's going to be probably in the first maybe 1 or 2 episodes introducing you to the character, setting up everything with this espionage mission, but then once Kaz and Team Fireball and the Aces take the front and center, Leia and Poe will likely fall back and only be in it, when absolutely necessary. I
think it also showed that Kaz is going to try to be an ace.
Yeah, initially he doesn't come on as a pilot. He's
initially considered Team Fireball, which I believe they're almost kind of like the support group for the aces, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, so they're not pilots. Like they're essentially a pit crew. I mean, the best way to put it.
But it's almost like they want to fly, though.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you do see some of them flying.
Yeah. But they're not like the,
They're not the aces.
The aces, who are, the protectors of the battle station, or whatever the station is.
It's almost like they're their backups, or their mechanics / backup type of people.
Exactly. So there's a lot of good information around this show.
I don't know, man. I mean, if
anything
anything else, it looks good. I'm genuinely interested to watch it. I mean, clearly, hopefully, if you guys are listening to this, you've already watched it yourselves. And we don't sound dumb, because it's not a piece of shit and it is great. I don't see it being bad, but I mean, this is another new Star Wars property, obviously kind of parented by Disney, so there is that faction of fans now. They're just kind of like, ew.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to look at something, look at Dave Filoni. I mean, Dave Filoni is the one behind this show, and
Right.
for all of you people out there who are fucking excited.
Great point. Listen to this man. Go on.
I mean, for everybody's super excited about Star Wars Clone Wars coming back for its final season. That's Dave Filoni. Everybody, out there really loved Star Wars Rebels. That's Filoni. Resistance is also Dave Filoni. It's not like, Disney came in and said, all right, Dave, you have to do shit our way now. Like, no, this man is a tried and true Star Wars champion, and he's shown his chops through 2 different TV series, and he's going to come in and he's going to do it again. So just put your bullshit aside, watch the show, and then figure out that anything that Filoni touches turns to Star Wars gold, and just realize that.
Let me interject. I mean, the man made a great point. That's why I let him lose. Dave Filoni has essentially been described as the one and true heir of George Lucas.
I mean, if you look
in terms of, I mean, George entrusted this guy with obviously the animated universe and all those stories that have now, if you've gone on to point out, have gone on to spawned pure canon threads and great threads. I mean, Filoni's been around since the Lucas days, and Lucas really has kind of taken the dude under his wing and kind of did pass on the proverbial force powers to him.
Yeah, I mean, 2007, I believe, is when the Clone Wars animated movie came out, and that is when Filoni really stepped into a position of prominence within the Star Wars universe. And you have to realize that
he's a Lucas protege.
Yeah, and from that
storytelling.
time period,
I'm not talking like Lucas. There's tons of Lucas proteges. I mean, we're talking sound effects, fucking special effects. I'm talking from a Star Wars storyteller. Lucas has groomed this man.
Yeah,
so shut the fuck up.
He had essentially, full control over all of the Star Wars canon threads from the time the movie trilogy or the movie saga ended in his first go-around. He was the one that was developing these storylines through the Clone Wars, and that was legitimately the only sustaining piece of Star Wars lore that was going on between the time of
Nick, I'm glad you reminded people, because a lot of people forget. Without Disney, Star Wars was done.
Yep, and that was it.
The only thing we probably would have gotten without that sale would have been a continuation of the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
A coherent continuation.
Not the Netflix, I mean, they did their best.
I finally finished Season 5, which Season 5 is, again, it's like, why do you guys save it for a fucking cartoon?
Yeah.
You could have done all this shit in a goddamn movie.
It would have been.
Anyways, and then it just ends.
And
then you go to the unknown season, and it's just like random good little mini episodes, but it's like, all right, what the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of goes all over the place, and it's.
But back to your point, I mean, that was it. There was no more Star Wars after that.
No, it was dead. People don't realize that it was dead, but it was dead. It was dead.
And now
guys.
people are like patting themselves on the back because they made a Star Wars movie fail in theaters.
Yeah.
And ha 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 ha! We showed them Disney, you fucks.
And I mean, if we're let's just transition off of that, using that as a segue. We don't want to hang too long on these many pieces because there's a lot of stuff. So
move along.
going on to the hate and the quote unquote failure of Solo, and then obviously the hate surrounding Last Jedi.
Yeah. This is neat.
There
was
was
a neat one.
Yeah, this is kind of, Matt's been waiting for this one for a little while, and he finally came out and he's vindicated. But so there was a study done by Morton Bay, a researcher at USC, on this whole phenomenon, all this craziness that happened around Last Jedi, and basically
the social media TLJ hate fest.
Yeah, and what he found was that more than 50% of negative tweets that were tweeted at Rian Johnson or in relation to The Last Jedi came
I love that it was just directed at him personally.
yeah, at Rian Johnson himself. So, quote, came from bots, trolls, sock puppets, or political activists using the debate to propagate messages supporting extreme right-wing causes and the discrimination of gender, race, or sexuality.
So the only reason I wanted to bring this up as Nick teased was if you just go back many, many episodes, I mean, you can catch it in multiple because I've said it many times. I attributed a lot of the negative reaction to TLJ on social media in particular to the shift in our culture in America, predominantly spurred on by President Trump's presidency.
Yeah. So,
and this just reinforces it. I mean, it was the same shit that helped fuck us up during the election itself. It's all meant to just fuck us up as a country, so we end up hating each other and fucking destroying all our values and doing bullshit to weaken us.
Yeah.
And this just proves it. And I like I said, I was on record saying, I believe we are seeing this increase in just negativity on social media because of the Trump era. It's the same shit. It goes hand in hand.
Social media has become a very crazy space and a very toxic space in a lot of cases since 2016. And I mean, even before that, it was starting to become a bit of a cesspool, and now it's really just kind of hit the fucking wall. But this proves it. I mean, even going into something like a movie. I mean, we're not talking about a presidential election or a scandal or any sort of large movement like the Me Too movement or anything like that.
But they knew. I mean, honestly, anyone can debate me on this, and they're gonna lose. Star Wars is one of the biggest pop culture creations in the last few centuries.
It is.
If we somehow figure out to even live another generation or two at best, Star Wars will be studied and taught the same way we have been taught shit like Shakespeare.
Yeah. And what people need to realize about Star Wars is it's always been a vehicle for social change, and it always tries to represent the people in our culture that
people get passionate behind it, and they're using it as a tool to fuck us up, to make us hate each other.
Yeah. So, again, we don't want to hang on this too much, but there is, if you want to read more about it, just search Morton Bay, USC.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention it because it just kind of vindicated a lot of the shit I was already confirming. I'm telling you, this increased hate around even goddamn Star Wars is a direct result of the Lord in Chief. I mean, this is the new era. This is it. This is what we live in.
Yeah. Right from Toilet Paper Foot himself. Anyway, we're going to move on to another Star Wars topic. This is video game related. If you guys out there play video games, I assume some of you do. This would be very interesting. So there's a new Star Wars game that was announced recently. This happened on September 27th again, so last week. Specifically around Vader. It's called Vader Immortal, and it's a VR-only experience. So this is only going to come out for VR, and it's only going to come out for Oculus Quest, which is the brand new VR system from Oculus that is going to be completely untethered from a computer, home console.
It's goddamn genius. I mean, if they can pull this off with legitimate performance, I'm talking everything, like tracking, visual quality, audio quality. This Quest is the next jump.
Yes, this is what a lot of people have been waiting for VR. Like, I personally don't. I own one VR headset, and it was the Samsung VR that you could plug your phone into. I used it a few times. It was okay, but it's not something I would ever go use regularly. This, once you see the trailer for this, so just go and look up Vader Immortal Oculus Quest. Once you see what the Oculus Quest is, this is what people want from VR.
It's free
to dedicate.
roam, man. I mean, I'll tell you right now, the PSVR is a decent VR headset, but it is constrained by its current design. I mean, the cables suck, and the fact that you have to stay within view of the goddamn camera is a pain in the dick.
Yeah. So this is completely...
It's not reliable. I mean, this thing, you can literally fucking free roam.
Walk all over your house. In the trailer for it, you can see people in the trailer for the Oculus Quest. You can see people using it untethered headset. It's got 2 controllers, and they're just moving freely about. Anyway,
you're not constrained to anything. I mean, you don't have to be looking at a camera to track it. You can truly just move in a 3D space unimpeded.
Yeah,
and that's life. I mean, that's honestly some of the same people working on this are the people that did that fucking thing at the Disney resorts last year.
Yeah, exactly.
That was like mind blowing, but you had to wear a big ass backpack and a fucking helmet and all this shit. But that was fucking nuts because you were literally walking through the VR world, and that changes everything.
Yeah, I mean,
I love VR, but it is limited by the hardware. But when you can fully walk your person through that shit, and you're feeling registers on your body through vibrations, that was insane.
It's the true VR experience that people have been waiting for. And now with Vader Immortal, you're not only going to have the opportunity to live that through the, your VR headset or anything like that. You can go through and you can see exactly what happens between Episode 3 and Episode 4. You get to visit Mustafar, Vader's castle, and then, kind of continue that storyline like we've been doing in other video games and other TV series. So,
well, they even
really,
said
really cool.
It loosely stems from Secrets of the Empire, which is the VR thing I was talking about.
Yeah, you actually went through and were able to go through that. So how did that...
dude, I'm telling you right now, it was the greatest VR experience I've still had to date because they incorporated 4D elements while also allowing you to move freely through a virtual space. I mean, we had no tether. We had a big-ass backpack on and a helmet, but we were holding a physical gun. That helped, too. But we weren't tethered to anything, so we were literally walking along this little obstacle course they designed. It matches what you're seeing in your headset, so you're able to get through it.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So there was actual physical obstacles in front of you, but
dude, you had to fucking walk through doors and shit and fucking conveyor belts and.
Dude, that's pretty sick. I
told you. I mean, you were like when you crossed the lava fields of Mustafar, you could feel the goddamn heat. There was steam blowing on you. It was fucking insane.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the exact kind of VR experience you want. Obviously, you're not going to get that in depth with this new game.
You're going to have the freedom of movement, which to me it's the biggest thing.
Yeah. So if you go and watch the trailer for this game, it starts off pretty cool. Like you're on what is essentially a Star Destroyer, and then all of a sudden you get pulled out of space by the Force. And who does that? Darth Vader, of course.
Well, it's also, I mean, it's written by David S. Goyer. I mean, if you know who he is, he worked with Nolan on the Dark Knight stuff. I mean, the guy is considered to be a pretty good fantasy sci-fi type of writer, so.
Yeah, and I mean, just looking at the visuals of this, you get a close-up shot of Vader, you hear his voice, you have the Imperial, essentially the torture device that you see in Episode 4 when they bring it into the room with Leia. It looks fantastic. I mean, the visuals of this look incredible, and that's really cool to see from, like we were saying, an untethered VR headset. I mean, that's impressive. Very interesting. There's no price point yet. The release date for this is going to be 2019 because the headset itself does not release until 2019.
I thought I saw. I mean, I'm probably making this up, but I'm thinking people were saying it was going to be around like $3.99.
Yeah, I mean that's relatively.
That would make sense, and to me, I would pay that. I mean, especially if it pays off.
Yeah, I mean that's in line. If you look at stuff like the HTC Vive or even the Oculus Rift, like ones that are tethered to your computer. I just spent
fucking $540 on the limited edition 500 million super duper PlayStation 4, and that's just a fucking lame ass wannabe, not even real 4K console.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's not an actual. It's it's not.
Dude, I'm an asshole for buying that. I bought that just because I have like a FOMO type of thing.
Complex. You have a complex set.
I mean, there's no reason I needed that.
No, if you already had a PS4 Pro, you definitely didn't need that.
I didn't have a Pro. I had a regular one, and I still didn't feel like I needed a Pro.
Yeah,
I have an Xbox One X. I mean,
that is
software aside. I'll give you, hey, you Sony fanboys, trust me, I give you all the respect in the world. You have kicked the fuck out of Microsoft's face in terms of software. But when you come down to console hardware, you are not going to beat the goddamn One X.
Yeah, it's the best one out.
You can't fucking beat it. It's native 4K, HDR, Atmos. It's a beast for a console. The Pro doesn't stack up. It doesn't.
Can you play The Last of Us 2 on it, though?
That's my point.
Yeah.
That's my fucking point.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not an idiot, and I'm not a fanboy of either. I own them both. That's what I'm fucking saying.
Yeah. But I'm
just going like, why the fuck did I buy a goddamn Pro? Because I hardly play fucking PlayStation.
This game, though, is worth it. So all that we know so far is going to be a 3-episode deal.
It's worth it. It's a fucking Star Wars game. Sign it up. All right. Next story.
Yep. So here we go. We're moving on to the one piece of episode 9 news we have now, and it can get a little complicated. We're just going to tell you up front.
Squirrely one.
Yeah.
Is what we like to call it.
So previously we had announced that Dominic Monaghan was going to be in the movie. It was cast. He's worked with J.J. Abrams before. He's a good friend of J.J. So he's coming into episode 9, going to play a part that we now know is planned to span across all 3 acts. The way that it was put is very fucking confusing. So I'm going to read the quote to you guys.
It makes no fucking sense.
Yeah. So I'm going to read a part of the quote to you guys where Monaghan is talking on, it's called the Distraction Pieces podcast, and this is what he said.
This makes no sense.
Yeah, he said,
it's not even worth reading, but do it just so we can prove that it makes no sense.
Yep. So he told me, J.J. Abrams, he told me, just be aware of the fact that there are massive sequences in Act 2, there are massive sequences in Act 3, but because we're shooting Act 1 first, I've put you in there, and you seem to not be around as much in Act 2 and 3, but that's because that's what we're doing first, so I want you here, I want you invested, so read the script, but just know there won't be long until there'll be a redraft of those things, and we'll see you a little bit more.
Oh, okay. Right.
And then he says, so I read it, and the script is amazing, and obviously there isn't a lot I can say. What the fuck does that mean?
Right. I mean, what are we even talking about here?
Yeah. So.
Like, what the fuck? I mean, okay. Here's what we can talk about. The only thing you can honestly even draw out of that nonsense is the fact that JJ said there are massive sequences in Act 2 and 3.
Yes.
That's it.
That's huge stuff. Yeah. So this we're talking
because the fact that he says, but because we're shooting Act 1 first, well, no shit.
Yeah, it's like I would assume that you're shooting in some sort of, chronological order.
I mean, I know you don't have to, but it's like, if you can, that makes fucking sense.
Yeah. So this is how,
dude. It goes right there. As soon as he says sequences in Act 3, that's it.
Yeah.
Outside of that, it just becomes nonsensical.
It's muddled. It's confusing. All that we can tell from that is that
the guy's in the movie.
Yeah, he's in the movie. He's definitely in Act 1.
We can definitely state that as fact.
Yeah, and
he's in Act 1.
He may be in Act 2 or 3, depending on these redrafts. Like, it got a little confusing there.
Maybe, who knows, Probably not, but maybe.
Yeah, the only thing that we could talk about, like you said, Matt, is the big sequences, the massive sequences in Act 2 and 3. And if we think about massive sequences in the Star Wars universe prior to Act 3, the first one that comes to my mind is Hoth in Episode 5. That's what
Correct.
I would consider.
That's a great call. That's why I keep you around, because I was just about to say, when have you ever heard about a massive sequence before the climax?
Yeah.
Which is usually the final act, which is usually Act 3.
Yeah, so...
But then you're like, right now, eat it.
Yeah, right here,
like,
here's one.
You're like, I can one-up that shit. I mean, first act, massive sequence, asshole.
That opens up with it.
But honestly, TLJ...
Yeah.
Right in both of our faces.
Yeah, TLJ's another
to me,
great example.
I'm not going to fuck around. As much as you assholes want to jump on that movie, that opening space sequence is one of the best and most dramatic fucking Star Wars space sequences around.
It was fantastic. I mean...
Get the fuck out of here. The first time I saw that, my heart almost stopped like 9 times.
Yeah. I mean... The whole thing with, Paige Tico.
It was a goddamn masterpiece.
It was. It was fantastic. And, I mean, there's so many good, quote-unquote, massive sequences that you can point to in the Star Wars universe. I mean, we already talked about Hoth, TLJ. I mean, in TFA, you had the massive sequence in Act 2 at Maz Kanata's castle, and then obviously you have the massive sequence in Act 3 at the end of the movie on Starkiller Base. Just go through the movies and you can name them all off in your head. There's so many. But it is very cool to see that what we may have is a slower start, so maybe not something that's going to punch you right in the face like Empire or TLJ did, but you're going to move into massive sequences towards the middle and the end of the movie. So it's pretty cool.
I still want this movie to be no shorter, and to me this is like the minimum, 2 hours and 45 minutes.
Oh yeah, it has to be. I mean,
and I would be willing to take a 3:15 to the face.
Yeah, I mean, if we've talked about it before, if this is truly it, if this is truly the end of the episodic Star Wars films, the end of the Skywalker saga,
at this point, you might as well just give us everything we want and try to Band-Aid the fuck out of it.
Yeah, I mean, give me fucking, Return of the King extended edition length. Give me 5 hours in the theater, and I'll sit down there and I'll watch every second of it 10 times. Like,
that's the crazy thing. I still think people at Lucasfilm are going, well, hey, we could probably make an extra $1 million if we shorten it so like younger people can make it through it.
No, dude.
It's just like, no, man, just make this bitch like 3+ hours long if you have to.
Yes.
I would do 3.5 hours.
Dude, I'm still in the the frame of mind where I want a 2-parter. Give me episode 9 part 1, episode 9 part 2. Like
4 hours. Like, I mean, no, 5 hours total.
Yeah, 2.5
each
hours
each. 2.5 minimum.
Yeah, chop it up. And I will go see both of them 10 times. Like, do it Matrix style, like Reloaded Revolution style, where they come out 3 months apart. Like, you don't even have to wait the whole year.
Come on, sign this guy up. Sign us up. Make us producers.
I mean,
we listen to these fucking ideas.
The ideas are always here. This is not new. These are always floating.
We're fucking geniuses, even though they probably already discussed it. And are like, no.
And it's like, we can't do that. Come on, what is this? But
I mean, it sounds great to me. I mean, yeah. I'm ready to sign up. If I had money, I'd fucking pay you.
I mean, the fanatics like us are going to go see it, and they're going to go see it as many times as they can before the theaters fucking kick them out and tell them they can't go anymore. But now it's just like,
I don't want them to feel obligated to shorten it because that's the normal. Like, you can make X amount of more dollars if it's at this running time.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, TLJ.
Give me a fucking 3-hour Star Wars movie.
Yeah, please.
Any day, any fucking day.
And I mean, we've seen it.
I would watch a 3-hour Attack of the Clones at least once.
Yeah, I mean, just to see it through. So
come on.
I mean, there have been some longer runtimes recently. I mean, with even Jurassic World 1 went into around the 2.5 hour mark. TLJ obviously was the longest Star Wars movie of all time so
TLJ's
far.
Longest ever. I mean,
Yeah.
let's keep that trend going. I mean, one up him, JJ.
Yeah, do it again. Just keep going.
I mean, he kicked over all your fucking story elements, so fucking one up him on time at least.
That's what you do. You just take the first half of your 3.5-hour movie to rewrite episode 8, and then you just finish with episode 9 in the last hour.
Yeah. The first hour is TLJ, the real TLJ.
Yeah.
And then the last 2 hours is episode 9.
Yeah, the re-edit. So, again, this is some good
Yeah,
information.
Luke, like, from Atto, just completely sucks every first order ship down into, like, their deaths.
Yeah, I mean,
he doesn't even have to leave the island. He literally just fucking force hums everybody to death.
Yeah, like he Galen Mareks, he Star.
They all just explode. Where they're at. I mean, Snoke's dead. Everyone's dead.
Yeah, he comes back. It's just him and Kylo.
Fucking Rey dies because she's a girl. Rose dies because she's a girl. Finn dies because he's black.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like, there you go.
Give the Russian bots what they want, and then you pick up
exactly.
You pick up the pieces, and you start, and you only have Luke and Kylo.
Yeah,
and
Luke literally somehow transforms back into Farm Boy Luke.
Yeah, he just comes back. He looks,
but he's still a Jedi Master, so he's just fucking killing everybody. Han comes back to life.
Yeah, I mean, Han, Chewie, Luke are all there. You bring in Billy D. He's coming back. I mean, you have all you have left is the original cast, and all you're doing is you're just fighting a clone of the Emperor. That's episode 9. There you go.
And a Death Star.
Yep, Death Star's back too. Same size, not bigger, not like Starkiller Base, because all you guys hated Starkiller Base because it's too big.
But it's fully finished. It's not like the face style Death Star from Return of the Jedi. It's fully finished.
Yeah, it's got all of the enhancements from Return of the Jedi, except it's completed. It's not just exactly. So now that we've spoiled episode 9 for you
Thrawn
guys,
is actually the Emperor.
this sounds like the best Star Wars movie I've ever heard about.
All right.
But yeah, so that was Monahan.
Move along.
Monahan
Move
talking
along.
about it. And yeah, so we got another year and 2 months until this movie comes out, so we're probably going to have to wait for any more episode 9 news yet.
Right.
All right, boys and girls and aliens and whoever else listening. It's time. The Mandalorian. Do you know what that is, Matt? The Mandalorian?
Well, I mean, finally, I honestly, like I said, as we teased earlier, I do believe Jason Ward and the Making Star Wars.net team forced Lucasfilm's hand. But as Nick just teased, we now know what Jon Favreau's live-action Star Wars TV series is called, and it is The Mandalorian.
And I gotta say, man, this is the move. This is the right move. I feel like if you go...
I love the shot they released, first and foremost.
Yeah, I mean, just...
Perfect shot.
A badass-looking Mandalorian in Mandalorian armor walking around what looks like some sort of... I mean, honestly, the first thing I thought of when I looked at this was Jeddah from Rogue One. Like, Jeddah was very similar in terms of their street setup.
Well, it's gone.
Yeah.
So we know it's not Jeddah.
Yeah, it's not Jeddah, because that was blown up.
Shit's been blown the fuck up, so we know that ain't it.
Yeah.
I mean, I even, because as Nick, hopefully if you're a Star Wars fan, you've seen this image. I mean, he is walking through some sort of market district. But, some of the things we got, and the reason we're like, oh, hey, what is it called? This week literally has just been, news around this property has just been heating up. I mean, we were getting set pick leaks from Jason Ward, and you could see these sets. Clearly, it's the same sets that this official image comes from. And if you look at them, dude, I mean, they're very Tatooine/Jakku-esque.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it's all stone, nothing that looks grandiose.
It's a fucking desert location, fucking stone hovel, sand hovels.
Yeah, dude, and like just looking at this image, the thing that's most striking to me is his fucking helmet. Like the Mandalorian helmet just looks
it's
so...
It's the most iconic design outside of the Stormtrooper helmet in the Star Wars franchise.
Yeah, and I mean, but even if you look at like the rest of his armor, or her armor, we don't know, looks tattered, like and it looks piecemeal.
That's definitely a dude.
Yeah, it's I'm pretty sure it's
just
a guy.
by the fingers. I mean,
Does
I'd
have
be fine if it
fat
was a
fingers.
girl. I could care less, but That's 100% a dude.
It does.
And isn't the rumor it's fucking homeboy from
Pedro Pascal from Game of Thrones.
Oberyn.
Oberyn Martell. But I mean, it looks fucking so good. Just like, but the helmet,
even his gun. I mean, that gun is very Mandalorian too.
Yeah, he's got a.
Hold on. One thing I want to clear up, and this is even on the official Star Wars and even Favreau himself. So let me read this real quick. Production on the first Star Wars live-action streaming series has begun. After the stories of Jango and Boba Fett, okay, key terms right there. Another warrior emerges in the Star Wars universe. The Mandalorian is set after the fall of the Empire and before the emergence of the First Order. Okay. So, do you take that as they're implying that Jango and Boba are Mandalorians?
Yeah, I mean, right?
Because they're fucking not.
They're
by canon, they're not.
Yeah, so
I can tell you right now, we know for a fucking fact Boba's a goddamn clone.
Yeah, he's a clone. Okay, so
and Jango in the Clone Wars, and I wish I had the episode, but I saw the clip. I mean, trust me, this is canon. In the Clone Wars, when Obi-Wan is dealing with shit on Mandalore, because if you watch it, you know he gets in deep because of fucking the Duchess Satine.
Yeah.
I mean, basically he wants a fucker and yada yada yada. But a Mandalorian there basically he talks to Obi about Jango and says, "Nah, man, how the fuck did he steal that? I mean, he was a good bounty hunter, but he is not a Mandalorian."
Yeah, so it's interesting that they put it that way because I feel like they're saying that because they're the only representation of what
of the armor type.
Yeah, of the armor type and what people associate with
But they're not if you've watched the Clone Wars. I mean, if you watch Clone Wars, you were introduced to the Mandalorian fucking planet, the culture. I mean, fuck, Rebels, Sabine. I mean, they all wear that fucking helmet style.
Yeah, exactly.
That's their goddamn culture. So I just found it odd that they felt they needed to tie Jango and Boba to it, even though they aren't Mandalorians.
Yeah, they're not really Mandalorians, but I think it's just like it's the only two prominent figures that are associated with the brand.
For Christ's sakes, Boba Fett is the origination of the goddamn armor.
Yeah, exactly. So it is interesting that they're using that as the segue, but it does give us like you said, you know, this is taking place between the fall of the Empire, so the end of Episode 6 and beginning of Episode 7, and I mean, that's like we said, that's a fertile time period, and that's the same time period that Resistance is happening. So you're going to have two shows running concurrently that are both going to be in the same time period. I don't expect crossover, but they're filling in these gaps.
Well, I think Resistance is probably further along than this because this is implying that the First Order isn't even making waves yet, where Resistance, we know that the First Order has made enough waves that the Resistance feels the need to deploy spies.
Yeah, and we're already working with Poe Dameron, an older Princess Leia or General Leia Organa.
I mean, to me, this is literally after essentially Battlefront 2.
Yeah, more than likely.
Like about 2 to 3 years after Jedi, where they finally snuffed out the Empire, and now they're just. I mean, it even says. I mean, basically, this is going to take place outside the reach of the New Republic. So, I mean, the New Republic is as new as it gets.
Yeah, it's established, and there is no resistance yet. So, yeah, it's going to be pretty cool to see what direction they take this show in. But there's a lot more. So, let's talk about some more confirmed information that we have here, and that is...
Yeah, we got some good stuff. I mean, we're gonna have plenty of time to speculate on the content of the series.
Yeah.
So let's just go tonight for the concrete stuff.
Yeah. So the first things that were confirmed facts were the directors, and that was put out by Lucasfilm and StarWars.com themselves.
And I like because I mean honestly, I don't know what you thought. I always kind of figured Favreau was the director, but it turns out he's just the EP and a writer.
Yeah, I mean Favreau directed.
I mean, he's
Iron
creating
Man.
it.
Yeah.
He's not directing it. He truly is writing the story and producing it.
Yeah, so let's go through the directors, and the first one up is somebody we talked about early in the cast, and it just proves what we said. Like, this man is fucking Star Wars. Dave fucking Filoni, directing the first episode.
I can't believe this guy didn't direct one of the standalones, or hasn't already been greenlit for a standalone.
I mean, maybe. Look, I don't know what.
But I mean, let's be
doing.
honest.
Yeah.
I mean, look how busy he is with the goddamn animation wing. So
yeah, it's true.
I mean, I guess there is that.
Yeah. So he's directing episode 1, but they don't give you. So after that, they don't give you like a breakdown of who's directing which episodes. Additional episodic directors include Deborah Chow. She did some episodes of Jessica Jones. Rick Famuyiwa.
I'm sure that's horrible.
Yeah, I'm sorry,
but you
butchered
got
the
it.
fuck out of that. He directed Dope. Bryce Dallas Howard. You know,
nepotism.
Yeah,
Star Wars family nepotism.
You know.
This is my favorite right here.
Yeah, Taika Waititi.
Woo! I love it.
Thor Ragnarok. If you haven't seen Thor Ragnarok yet, do yourself a favor.
I mean, it's Korg himself.
Yeah, Sir Korg. All right, guys, let's go. But he's another director. I mean, him alone is a big name to have on a television show, especially
dude. I mean, as we talked about in the budget, this is legitimately Star Wars, Game of Thrones level type of shit at this point.
Oh yeah, I mean
they're bringing in this talent just to direct.
Yeah, and if it is true that Pedro Pascal is going to be playing the lead role here, I mean that's another. I mean, Narcos, Game of Thrones. Obviously, the guy's made a big name for himself in big budget television series.
Movies. I mean, he was in the latest Kingsman movie.
Yeah, he was. True.
He's in he's in the latest fucking Mission Impossible.
Yeah. So I mean, the guy is, active in Hollywood. He's a big name and he's a recognizable face. So I mean, if it's true that he's in there, then he's
got that
awesome.
Goddamn mustache, dude.
He does, and I mean, like, it's hilarious to see him go from playing Oberon and the detective in Narcos to playing a fucking Texan down south, Texan in fucking Kingsman. It's hilarious.
He's legit. I'm all about it being him, but like I said, it'd be cool if it was a girl, but it's not a girl. I mean, those fingers are grungy as fuck.
Yeah. So executive producer wise, like you said, Matt, it's going to be Jon Favreau, written and executive produced by Jon Favreau. Other executive producers on this include Filoni, Kathleen Kennedy, go fuck yourself, all the haters, and Colin Wilson. I don't know who that is. Karen Gilchrist is going to serve as the co-exec producer. That's all official from StarWars.com. Outside of StarWars.com, we got the description that you read earlier, Matt. That's directly from Jon Favreau's Twitter. And outside of official sources, we have our friends at MakingStarWars.net, and that's where we get into these juicy set picks. So do you want to break down what we're seeing here in terms of blue screens and all this shit?
Yeah, I mean, Homeboy's been busy over there, and is this California? This is happening.
Yeah. So this is verified information from the shoot yesterday. Blah blah blah. Here were the photos taken. This is on a soundstage in California, from what I think is out there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess to me, what they've shown so far, I mean, it's clearly going to be a desert planet, and I just think from the structure of the buildings, and the time frame, and the familiarity, my money's on Jakku, Tatooine, probably more heavily in Tatooine's corner.
Yeah, I mean, we know that
as a
starting ground.
I don't.
Maybe.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think this is going to be the main location. I think they're going to jump all over the place. But in terms of set, they've definitely invested some time and money into this thing.
Yeah. So throughout these screenshots that we're seeing, there's a common theme. We're seeing a lot of what looks like black rock kind of set pieces. Very small. It's not like it's a volcano mountain or anything like that, but there's a lot of black rock. There's also a lot of blue screen. So They're not shying away from special effects here, and they're going to be using blue screens like every other fucking production does nowadays to fill in the gaps. But like you said, a lot of it is practical sets built, look exactly like Tatooine, Jeddah, Jakku style of building. And yeah, dude, I think that this might be right in the beginning, though. Like you said, we're very familiar with Boba Fett in like the.
Shut the fuck up. Sorry. You hear this? Asshole?
Yeah, I heard him. He was very upset.
Sorry, people.
One of my cats jumped up. I'm sure you guys heard it on the mic. She fucking scratched the mic. She was.
No, I didn't. But this dickhead just sitting down at the bottom of my seat yelling.
Yeah, but so this looks like I really do feel like you're gonna start off in a familiar location like we did, in previous things. And then we're gonna move.
Do you have the Buddha post that has some of the tweeted pics from it up or not?
Let me get it. I'm sure I can find it soon.
Or I can kick it to you.
Because
there's one building in particular where I'm like, man, it's very Jakku-ish versus Tatooine. Dude, cat, come on. Hey, get the fuck out of here. Sorry, people. That's why we're not professional.
That's why we don't get. Okay, first set picks.
Try that one, yeah. So the last one down at the bottom.
Okay.
I feel like the building with the the red roof and the arches is kind of Jakku-y, but in the end, I don't know. I'm still leaning Tatooine-ish.
Yeah. It does have a similar feel to like almost like the building that we saw, like similar to the building that we saw Rey walk into.
Exactly.
Yeah, early on TFA.
Right. Like kind of an archway from Jakku, but I don't know. I don't think it is.
Yeah.
And I can tell you for sure it's not fucking Mandalore, because Mandalore, at least the way they portrayed it in the Clone Wars, is, and even Rebels, I mean, there's sections of it that look like Coruscant.
Yeah, so it's
just nothing but fucking skyscrapers.
Yeah, I don't think it's... Yeah, that's sort of Southern California. Live action location set, Southern California. So that's where all this is taking place. What I think is interesting is, like, it is happening. Like, you do have that option now. We now have 2 desert planets. Like you said, you have Jakku, which would be a really fucking good place to pick up here, because we already know based off of...
Dude, there's a ton of shit. I mean, there's still like some fresh fucking probably scrap and bounty material.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was going at, because as we know from Battlefront 2, like the Battle of Jakku happened, and there's a lot of stuff to be had there, especially if you're a bounty hunter. Like, I'm looking for... something from this,
fucking
Star Destroyer.
rebels or lone fucking Imperial officers. I mean,
yeah, I mean, even on assassination missions, I mean, you would figure, okay, you have this massive battle that's over Jakku, all these ships went down, but some people survived, so you have Imperial officers that are trying to, hide and build new lives for themselves in secrecy on Jakku, and this bounty hunter could have been hired, this Mandalorian. We don't even know if it's a bounty hunter. This Mandalorian, if he is a bounty hunter, could have been hired to go
I
kind of
explained this concept to my wife, who, again, God bless her soul. She just goes along with all my little passions in life, and she supports them and whatnot. So last night when I was like, oh my God, I can't believe Disney's dropping this news this late. We're going to Venom, blah, blah, blah. And I had to write it up real quick. And I had to explain it to her, like, okay, well... this is why this stuff is important, I was like, this is big stuff. We've got this live action thing going on. We got this Mandalorian thing going on. And this is why it's important to the universe and yada, yada, yada. I forget my original point, so move on.
Yeah. But there's a lot that could happen on either planet, is kind of what I was getting at with the Tatooine Jakku thing. So it's going to be really cool to see, like, where exactly this is. Is this another desert planet that we're not familiar with? I don't think they would do that, but...
I just think the architecture plays too well to either of the established places.
Yeah, and I don't know what they would gain out of, like, starting this on another new, like, oh, look, it's another new desert planet in Star Wars. It's like, all right, we already have 2. We don't need another. We technically, have 3.
Oh, I know where I was going. My bad. Sorry. The point I was trying to make to her, like, why would you make a show about the Mandalorian? I was like, well, look at it this way. Mandalorians are essentially the Spartans of the Star Wars galaxy.
Yep.
They are a warrior culture. They are known as probably the best warrior, fighter, soldiers, whatever you want to call them, in the galaxy, obviously outside of Force-sensitive motherfuckers. So that's why we're getting this show.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I guess that's kind of what I hope to expect from this character, is that he's going to be essentially King Leonidas in terms of when people fuck with him, they shouldn't fuck with him.
Yeah. So, and like you said, because of the, how Mandalorian culture works, where you're Mandalorian not by, there's a planet, there's Mandalore, there is a Mandalore who is the leader of the Mandalorian people, but at some point after, this may be, not canon anymore, but like at some point after the Mandalorian Wars, when a lot of native Mandalorians were killed, they started to accept other people who weren't native to the planet into their culture, and to become basically what were adopted Mandalorians. And it would be cool to see if they play this as like this character is going to eventually come to lead his people, or is he just like a lone wolf kind of deal. And it also lends itself to be able to become a more mature Star Wars property. So
well, dude, you also have to take into account what has gone on with Mandalore based on the Clone Wars, because again, I just watched season 5, and that's the season where Darth Maul essentially takes over the goddamn planet. Like, that's how fucked up Mandalore is.
Yeah,
so,
and they, like you
and this is still going on during the Clone Wars, so who knows what happens during the OT and even the Clone Wars through there. But, Mandalore is essentially really fucked up by the end of the Clone Wars.
Yeah, it is.
Like, they've lost their monarchy. Maul took over, but then Sidious showed up and essentially fucked Maul up again, and we don't even see Maul again until Rebels, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of shit has been left to been told about Mandalore, at least from the tail end of the Clone Wars era and beyond, till we're going to see now.
Yeah, so it's going to be really cool to see how they play that, not only the character, but also the planet and the people into this.
Oh, it's torn apart, dude. Mandalore is literally torn apart, because Death Watch aligned with Maul, but they planned to use him, but then Maul was like, fuck you, and he ends up killing them all.
Yeah, and then they overthrow...
And then he just full-on takes over the goddamn planet, and then everyone's fucked up.
Yeah, they overthrow the entire government, and then, like you said, Sidious comes in, and that's when Savage was still around, him and Savage.
Right, and then, Sidious just
kills...
in one foul swoop, kills Savage. Yeah. He's like, fuck you. And then he could have killed Maul, but he's like, nah, I'm going to fuck you up.
Yeah, and then lets him go, fucking robot legs and all.
Right, and then we find them again in Rebels.
Yeah, so it's going to be really cool to see where they go with it. So do you think this show is going to be like, I don't want to say Game of Thrones style, but do you think that this is going to be like a hardcore, like there's going to be blood, there's going to be killing? Like,
it's Disney after all. It ain't gonna be worse than PG-13.
It is. I just think that, like, with their own streaming service, this is gonna be exclusive to the streaming service. This is already known out there. They have the ability to do whatever they want with it. And
I agree, but they still put ratings on Netflix shows.
They do. You're right. I think that this is the perfect one to not go like full Game of Thrones where like people are getting their fucking head cut off and like rolling on the ground and shit, but like you could pick this up in the same vein.
Make it pretty fucking gritty.
Yeah, like Rogue One style. Like Rogue One was probably the grittiest Star Wars movie that we've had so far.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. in terms of like actual deaths and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, the opening scene of Rogue One shows fucking, one of the main protagonists in Cassian Andor just killing an informant, like, right up front. And it's like, look, I gotta shoot you.
He assassinates him.
Yeah, like, just shoots this dude right in the fucking gut and then runs away. A lot of cool shit happened there, and a lot of, like, so in terms of Star Wars universe, more graphic kind of stuff. I mean, I know K2 was a droid and there's not blood leaking everywhere, but his death was relatively brutal. I mean, like, dude went down in a hail of gunfire.
Yeah. No, I mean, he was basically RoboCopped, is what I like to call that.
Yeah. So I think that this is the perfect style, the perfect type of TV show where you can pick up that feel of Star Wars and continue it. Because I mean, they could do it.
I mean, I would love to see this guy take a blast or under some dude's chin and fucking
melt his brain out. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, just literally blow fucking brain spurts out of the top of his head.
Yeah,
ain't happening.
Yeah, I don't think we're going there, but I do think that we're gonna get. I think it's gonna get gritty. But
I hope so,
dude. It's just like there's so many good things about this choice, because I mean, a lot of people, like, this is the first time, all of this information, this is the first time we knew anything about it. There were people speculating that this was going to be a TV show about the formation of the New Republic and
all right, well,
stuff like that.
Since we specialize in speculating, let's do a little bit of that. Any chance we get even a mention of Sabine Wren or the Wren clan?
I mean, considering that they're
highly relevant, by the way, in this time period.
Yeah, exactly. And
based on the ending of Rebels, I mean, I'm talking like uber relevant.
Yeah, I mean, considering that we're dealing with a Mandalorian as the main character, this is perfect opportunity to make that crossover, to bring in a cartoon character and have her be maybe not primary character.
And I believe, but don't quote me, that by the end of Rebels, Sabine's family is somewhat in quasi-control of Mandalore.
Yeah.
Based on her actions and her possession of the Darksaber.
Yeah. So I think that it's a highly likely.
At least a mention, right? I mean, I don't think we're going to see a live-action Sabine.
I think it's possible. Like,
nah.
Come on.
Nah,
Filoni getting the first episode?
Don't come on me. Of course I want it. I just don't think they're going to do it. I mean,
dude, I think
the only crossover we've had to date is Saw Gerrera.
I know, but I think given Filoni the first episode, that's something, dude. Like, it may not be like Sabine's the main character, but Filoni created that whole universe, that whole Rebels universe.
Dude, hey,
like, give him the first
episode. Who you
episode.
kidding? I would fucking beat off if that happened.
I think it's there. I'm just going to say, I'm going to put that as like 95%.
I even in my write-up when I read the synopsis, is like, give me something, even if it's a fucking passing mention, I'd be like, all right, thank you.
Yeah. I mean,
that's all I look for, man. Just these little connections between the animated and the live is all I'm looking for.
Yeah. Yeah, dude.
I would love to see a full-on portrayal of Sabine live, and I'd love for these assholes, one of their missions is to go look for fucking Ezra.
Dude.
I mean, come on. That's all on the fucking table, dude.
It is.
But I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't know if it's going to go as far as, like, you're going to get a full-on quest to go find Ezra. But I do think
Ahsoka's on the goddamn table if you want to get into it.
Yeah, because she played Fulcrum and that was her primary role in
Bro,
in
at the end of Rebels, her and Sabine literally leaving a ship, implying they're going to look for Ezra.
Dude,
at the After Jedi. I mean, we're talking like right now.
I think she's gonna. I still think she's gonna be in it. I think that, like, maybe not her, maybe not Sabine, but you'll see a Wren clan mention if nothing else.
Dude, okay, well that's my point. I'm like, I feel like they at least have to, in passing, it can even be a fucking Easter egg style reference.
Well,
they have to do it. You can't run a show called The Mandalorian set 3 years after Jedi, considering that a Mandalorian had a heavy hand in the Battle of Endor and yada yada yada.
Okay, so how about this? What if this is first season 1? This guy is a Mandalorian. He lives on Mandalore. He is given a quest. He's given a task
Sabine.
to find her. They tell her our daughter is out there.
Fucking A, sign me up. I've always said we should be writing these goddamn shits for money.
Yeah, and that's what he does. Like, this dude is planet hopping. He's trying to figure out. He's like, okay, this is where she was last seen.
I mean, what if he's fucking Sabine's brother?
Dude, could be. Like, if you think of, okay, look at Sabine. Sabine is...
Because I mean, dude, he's introduced in the fucking Forces of Destiny's cartoon.
I mean,
he's as canon as it gets.
And if Pedro Pascal is this character... Pedro Pascal has a similar look, he's got a, look similar.
Right. I mean, her
Sabine.
brother, I mean, they have their I'm not going to say Asian, but they have like the olive skin.
Yeah.
I mean, they're more of that Middle Eastern Italian type of fucking physique and build and color, if you will.
And Pedro Pascal falls right into that. Like, perfect.
Like I said, dude, I mean, this is, I honestly, our fanboyism's just taken over, and I agree. It would be awesome. I just don't think it's gonna happen.
Dude, the Filoni thing to me just makes it more real. The guy is picking up. He's like,
or it could be Filoni trying to spread his wings and get out of the animation wing of the fucking house.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely onto something there. It could be. This could be his first step. He's like, okay, I do this.
It's like,
and then you give me a movie.
I mean, you guys have disregarded me for these first 2 opportunities because I've just done animation. So here we go. I'm going to do some live action.
Yeah.
Now give me a goddamn movie.
Yeah. I mean, he's been doing animation for 11 years.
And in the end, if this is audition for a movie to finish off the end of Rebels, then fucking so be it. I'll sit through it.
Yeah. Yeah. So
because you can't. I mean, dude, let's be real. Are we really just going to leave Ezra and Thrawn's fate to be unknown?
No, of course.
Can we honestly afford that in Star Wars lore with those level of characters, especially considering the renewed focus on Thrawn with all these new books?
Yeah, I know. Like, Thrawn is a central piece of the expanded universe.
I mean,
now.
Can we literally just leave a character that big, just his fate unknown?
Of course not. And they're not going to do it in novel form either. I mean, people read the books.
Where's this going to get resolved? I mean, to me and to you, The Mandalorian makes perfect sense. I just don't know if they have the balls to do it.
But then, okay, so if they don't do it here, it can't be in Resistance. Resistance is too far off.
No, and I think it's off focus too. I truly think Resistance pure focus is going to be to show how the Resistance first learned of the First Order and how they were amassing their power. That's it.
Yeah.
It's limited to that. That's it.
Yeah. This one, I think there's too many threads. It's too close. There's too many similarities.
It has a lot more freedom, dude. This one has a lot of freedom to play with narratives that have been set up.
Exactly. And look, we could be 100% off. This could be an isolated story.
We are. We're not even could. I'm telling you right now, it's not going to happen.
Dude, we're going to this going to be 10 minutes into the show. Dude's going to take his helmet off. It's going to be Pedro Pascal. He's going to walk up.
Well, then in the end, I just proved that my reverse juju always works. So just let it ride. You just got to get used to it. I mean, again, I left one of the most exciting college games of 2018 because I felt like if I left, my team would do better, and they actually ended up winning. So, again, I take credit for it.
Solid. I mean,
I believe in that shit.
And then, okay, so we know that this show's got $100 million budget, right? $100 million.
Why, dude? I've also read. I don't know if you saw it anywhere, but apparently the first season's only fucking 8 episodes.
Yeah,
so.
8 episodes. 8 episodes for $100 million show. People, that's like that's a pretty. You're working with a lot of money there. It's like 11.5 million or 2 million per episode. It's pretty penny. This show is gonna be. In terms of special effects, I mean, we're talking Game of Thrones level money here.
It should be an 8-hour-long Star Wars movie in the end.
Yeah, and then...
An 8-hour-long Star Wars movie.
So do you think that this is going to be like a one and done, like a one-seasoner and then done? Or we're definitely getting more?
No way. This has to be recurring.
Yeah.
as a matter of fact, even in the article I read where it mentioned 8 episodes, I believe it kind of said that they don't know what season 2's gonna look like. That type of verbiage.
Yeah. You know what's weird to me? I'm reading this Favreau post. We follow the travails, Travails, of a lone gunfighter. What's a travail?
To me, it's like the trials and tribulations, the adventures.
Painful or laborious effort is what travail means.
Right.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so, he's like again, like his suffering through life.
Yeah.
Through adventures and this, that, and the other thing.
Yeah, dude.
Like I said, I mean, the fact, I mean, he's a gunfighter, so he's not a bounty hunter, he's not a smuggler, he's just a fucking pimp.
Yeah, he's a warrior, like you said.
He's like a fucking mercenary.
Yeah, like he's a fighter, and that's what he's good at. I mean, they're some of the most skilled killers in the galaxy.
But like you said, I mean, I do see it going down where, like, he's kind of doing his thing, and then he somehow gets embroiled in a larger fucking conflict.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean,
right.
They
and
wouldn't.
Then he's kind of used to progress, or he's gonna feel like he needs to help someone or something.
Yeah. I mean, he makes a point, Favreau, to say far from the authority of the New Republic. So
yeah, we're not getting looped into anything that's familiar.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they're that's what I mean. That's why I really think they're not even gonna fuck with Sabine, Ezra, Thrawn, Ahsoka.
It's maybe not up front. I don't know, man.
Maybe not acted out, but like I said, at least give me some goddamn casual reference.
Yeah.
Even if it's an Easter egg, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, so, I mean, we're thinking Outer Rim here, just based off of the verbiage of what Favreau has said. And Outer Rim, I mean, that is
way out, like way Outer Rim.
Yeah.
Or, fucking borderline unknown regions.
Yeah, like pretty far off. I mean, Tatooine was an Outer Rim, Jakku is Outer Rim, both outside of the influence of, the New Republic or the Imperial reign at the time. So there's a lot of possibility. I really do think that it's going to end up moving. You're going to essentially planet hop until you're close to the core worlds, until you're within New Republic bounds. And then we may even move this into a 1313, realm for at least a couple of episodes. Like, have this man or woman or whoever it is, Mandalorian, end up on Coruscant in the bowels, like in where 1313 was supposed to take place when it was originally, a
do you
video game
think
concept.
He's gonna play a good guy, bad guy, or kind of morally ambiguous?
I think it's gonna start off as morally ambiguous, and then you're gonna end up with an anti-hero,
kind of like a Han Solo.
Yeah, like he's definitely not going to be like Luke Skywalker style hero where he's like, oh my god, the plucky, I need to do what's right. No, he's
golly gee, Uncle Owen, I want to get off this planet and go save the galaxy.
Yeah, so I don't know if he's gonna be like Han Solo in terms of like completely money focused, where he's like, yeah, I'll do it.
Fucking pimp.
You got the creds.
That guy's such a fucking pimp.
15, huh? So, I mean,
fucking Mac that.
Yeah. 17, that's what it was. 17. So, but I think that he has his own mission. And I don't know if it's going to be something that was given to him previously.
So what the fuck is the mission? I mean, is it going to be personal or is it going to be monetarily motivated?
I don't think it's monetary. I'll say that up front. I don't think it's monetary. I think it's either something that okay, so this is how I'm picturing it.
All right, so take it to the bank. Nick's already said it. It's definitely Sabine's brother. He's on the search for her, and she's on the search for Ezra. They're all going to find each other. It's all going to be fucking tied together. Here we go.
100%. But
take it to the bank. It's Mike Zero.
It's going to kick it It's going to kick off. This dude's going to be away from everything, but he's going to be on a mission already. And I don't know if it's going to be personal or I don't know if it's going to be something that was handed down to him from whoever he finds dear to himself. But we're not going to know his motivations up front. I don't think.
I already figured it out. He's Rey's dad.
I think it's possible. Anything's possible for Rey's dad right now.
Done. Rey's dad.
100%. And he's gonna find Mara Jade Skywalker and have a child with her, and that's Rey.
It's over. I already figured it out. Take it to the bank.
That's why she's so good with the staff. Yeah. She's a good
His name
fighter.
is literally going to be Ray S. Dad.
Yeah. It's going to be Ray with an A. Ray. Right. And that's it.
You say it. Ray S. Dad.
Perfect, dude. We got this shit nailed down already. Just
Rango Fett.
Oh my.
I'm lame as fuck. All right, dude. Let's go. But yeah, so I mean, honestly, I was kind of happy to see this dump on Favreau stuff because it's kind of been barren these past few weeks in terms of good, juicy Star Wars stuff. I mean, Nick and I always try to figure something out to talk about, but it's been a struggle. So this week, it was definitely welcoming to see all this news coming out from Favreau, and I still do believe this was making Star Wars and Ward kind of pushing. Hey, Pete. You shut the fuck up. You shut the fuck up. We're not done. Okay?
He wants his
not
attention.
Done yet. It's not done. You hear? He just fucking snorted at me. All right. Sorry, people. Anyways, thanks for listening. I mean, I think we've kind of hammered this shit. I mean, it's going to be good. When are we going to get it? Who knows? I would hope it's going to be a launch title with Disney's streaming service.
Yeah, likely
you
before.
Just don't know. I mean, yeah, the fact that they're filming now, I mean, it could very well be ready by fall of 19.
Yeah.
I don't doubt that.
I think it's going to be before Episode 9.
Okay.
I'll say that. Before Episode 9.
I could also see them saving it just as kind of a buffer now because we don't really have any projects after it. So
it's true. Good point. Yep.
Yeah, honestly, I could really see this being a 2020 deal. Maybe even a spring 2020 back to the May Star Wars window. So, anyways, people, we'll dump the news on you. You'll either get it through entertainmentboo.com or through the Star Wars Time Show with myself and my homeboy Nick. As always, we appreciate you listening. Please, if you haven't already, subscribe somewhere. Be it YouTube, iTunes, Android, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn. We really don't give a flying flip. We just want you to listen. And honestly, if you are listening, because I know there are some of you listening, I can get some data. If you are listening and you like or hate us, let us know. Use the contact form through YouTube, drop comments on the videos, or hit up the post on entertainmentboo.com. Just search Star Wars Time in the search bar. You'll find the most recent podcast and drop a comment because I'm interested in some feedback at this point in time. Because I know we're getting a couple hundred downloads a month, and it's like, all right, well, who the fuck's listening, and what the fuck do you guys think?
If you think we're dumb as fuck, let us know. We probably are.
Yeah, I want to hear that. Like that's because we'll be even more dumb if that's the case.
All right.
Either way, we do appreciate you listening. Until next time. May the Force be with you.